And we are on air live now. So, welcome everyone to the Authentic Being Show. Today I have a special guest from Norway here, Torill Andersen, and she is a Three Principles facilitator who found me after she saw my first talk I presented for the Three Principles Supermind earlier this year, where I for the first time introduced the idea of combining the three principles and some very natural forms of movement and touch and intuitive body work. So I've made some progress already on that because I got good feedback from people, and there were other people who contacted me, like Torill here, who were interested to exploring this further. So there is slowly being it's slowly taking shape. So I'm becoming clearer and clearer on the idea of how this might work, and also I'm currently exploring the possibilities and ideas with other 3P facilitators and body workers, it's been really interesting so far. Also, I would like to say that we are both really nervous. We had a little exchange before this chat with Torill, and I just want to mention this because there is a lot of interviews and chats and talks out there, and it looks like it's very easy for everybody, and that it looks like it's lots of fun, and nobody ever mentions that they are nervous, and I think it's very natural. So I just want to acknowledge this and to show that I'm doing it anyway, because these interviews are really something I want to do, and I'm going to do it no matter how scared or nervous it makes me feel. So I hope this will inspire and encourage other people and to show them that even if they are really nervous about something, they can still do it if they really want to. That we are all just human, and we have these bodies, and we experience all kinds of emotions through them, but we don't have to be afraid of them. We don't have to be afraid of the fear as well. So I just really want to inspire people to go and do the things they're passionate about, no matter how scared they are. That I just want to show really that you can do things anyway, that it's natural. So and it will get better. Before my first talk I was nervous for a month. Before my second talk I was nervous for a week. Before my third talk I was nervous for a day. And before this one I started being nervous only about an hour or two ago. So it's getting better, and I believe the more I practice doing this, eventually there will be just joy and ease. So I'm looking forward to that. So I think this would be enough for introduction, and I will give space to Torill now. Torill, welcome. Thanks for suggesting this little chat, and I would like to hear a little bit about yourself, because all I know is that you are a 3P facilitator from Norway, and that you have an interest in working a little bit with the body, or incorporating some body work into your three principles practice. So would you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. Oh, I have the feedback again.
Again, okay, I'll try to mute and unmute, and if that doesn't work, I will try the headset. Okay, try it now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous.
Me too.
A year ago, I didn't even think I could speak English. So this is a huge step for me, but it's really fun. And I just do it and see what's happened. So yeah, I'm, as you said, a 3P facilitator in Norway. And we have started a 3P Academy. It's the first one in Scandinavia. And I'm so happy about that. So fun. I'm looking forward to 9 months with my students and my colleagues. I have the feedback again.
The echo. Okay,
Yeah, I have.
Okay, hold on. I'll get the earpiece if that works. It's strange that it lasts for a minute and then it comes back. Okay, let's see. Is it any better now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, but what do I say next?
Just remember to keep breathing,
yes.
Because I find that oftentimes it happens to me that I regain breathing only after the show is finished. And it's not good. It doesn't flow very well because then you're like constricted like this, and you don't get the best ideas and you can't talk. So I'm reminding myself to just keep breathing, and it makes things easier and things come easier to you. So you were talking about the academy. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's really it's a friend of mine, Eirik Grunde Olsen, who has started the 3P Academy, and he was interviewed by Brett Chitty as you were. So I have seen something in Supermind.
Mm-hmm.
And I found you on the YouTube because I was looking for some who was speaking about 3P and the body.
Oh.
And you were coming up. So I was hearing, and then I think, oh, I need to talk to So I think it's interesting to talk about the whole body, not just the mind and the thoughts and the consciousness. I think the body is communicating with us. So I was interested to hear what some other 3P people had to say about that. And George Pransky says something about it and how we're creating stress. And that's a body reaction. But I'm curious about other thing as well. And I have been a teacher for many years, and I see in school how important it is to let the children using their body, and in the school it's now less and less abilities to move bodies. They have to sit still and just writing and reading and doing math. And I think we are learning while using our body. And the 3P is really telling me that, because you can't understand 3P intellectually. It doesn't make any sense before you really knows it in your whole body. and then you just change. You don't have to have willpower or something,
Yes.
something strategy to do to change, because your body tells you to change, and that's I think that's very interesting. And I have been sick sometimes, and I think that is my body who is telling me that I'm not following my wisdom. And if I don't follow my thoughts, my wisdom thoughts, then the body has to tell me to stop by being sick. So I'm really curious to know more about how the connection works and how I can use that in my teaching to others.
Yes, yes, that's great. Okay, let's see what comes. I usually have, when I schedule an interview, I have imaginary interviews going on in my head beforehand, and I've already said everything I wanted to say before, so now it's gone already. So I will have to see if something new comes. Yeah, definitely. The body, in my opinion, plays such an important role in the understanding of the three principles, because it's like an interpreter. Without feeling the emotions which we feel in the body, nowhere else. Fair enough, they are created by thought, but the bottom line is really the experience, the emotion, the energy moving through the body. And without that, the three principles couldn't work the way they do. The body is really an essential part to the understanding, as you said yourself. Like, without getting the understanding on a deeper level within us, there is no understanding if it remains stuck in the intellect. So I have found it really curious that there is very little incorporation of the body, or even talk about the body in the three principles world. Like, I was also looking for people who might take this perspective or work from this approach more, and I couldn't find anyone, and it was still bugging me on my mind. I was like, this doesn't make sense. We are just sitting and talking, and it's great, but I feel like moving, or I feel like touching someone, or I feel like breathing in a certain way, and I didn't feel that, or I feel like dancing or getting up and jumping, when I start seeing beyond the illusions of concepts and thought and get a deeper experience of myself. I feel like expressing it or going out into the world and live it, and to experience to have an experience with my all senses. And I feel that in a classroom where the three principles are being taught, this is very limited. Like, it's limited to sitting and listening, or sitting and talking. And for me, being alive means having a full-bodied experience where we use all our senses, and then it becomes more vibrant and more alive, and that's what I'm interested in. So I was really surprised when I couldn't find anybody taking this perspective in the three principles, and I thought maybe I'm just weird, and I'm thinking about it like this, and nobody else is talking about this. It's been out there in the world for, like, I don't know, 40 years now, and it didn't occur to anyone to take this approach or even to think about it. It's like, maybe I'm just some weirdo or pervert or something, And but it's been on my mind for a long time. And then I discovered Chris Morris, who knows about the three principles, but he does other things as well. And among them, I'm not sure what they call it, moving meditation. It's some meditation, but you don't sit, you move with it. So he works with the body, and he was the first and so far, I think, only person that I have discovered who works with the body as well, and the three principles. And I was very inspired by Chris because he is so courageous and he really goes his own way and he isn't afraid to be controversial, which I really like. And to see that such a person who to me is like a role model, not role model, but you know, someone I have great respect for. And to have my ideas confirmed by him that indeed the body is important. Even when you know the three principles, the body should be brought into it as well. So that sort of gave me the courage and the confirmation that this is a good direction for me to go. You know, otherwise it would be much more difficult to find the courage to go on the talk and to speak about how I felt on the Supermind. So that's how I started, and ever since it's evolving really nicely. Like people are coming to me and they want to talk about this with no effort on my end. It's working very effortlessly, and it's great fun, and it's all coming together very naturally. I'm just talking about the thing that I'm passionate about, and despite the fact that I still get very nervous sometimes. It's really showing me really bit by bit, because I had to let go of my ideas of what I want to do, of how it might come together. I had to let go of all that and just instead follow what was offering itself to me when I felt that it's in alignment. And it's sort of building itself, like it's snowballing all by itself, there's no hard work, and I have a real sense that it's going somewhere, you see. There's another interesting thing, that for some reason you are like the third person I'm talking to about this from Norway. I don't know why that is. I don't like traveling. I don't like going to countries, but Norway is actually one country I like. And without me seeking out Norwegian people, you're the third one, you know. So maybe there will be some Czech-Norwegian fusion coming together in the future. So this is really interesting. So to get back to... Yeah, so far nothing is coming back to me. Like I said, I've played it already in my mind, and now I don't know. Would you want to say something now?
Yeah,
maybe.
I would like to. It's cool your name. You mention Chris Morris because he is the next guest on the 3P Academy in November. So he is coming to Norway, and he has been to Norway for a year ago as well. So I had the pleasure to meet him, and I'm like you. I like him. I like his courage to speak what he wants, and I really like that. And it's other thing you said is funny because in the group we have in the 3P Academy, we have one person who is guiding people in the mountains and on ski over Greenland. So he is really using the body and the 3P. And the first seminar we had in the 3P Academy, we took the whole group into the mountain in Norway, and we was using the mountain and nature as well, not just sitting inside a conference room. And And when we were in the conference room, it was free for everybody to stand up, go out the room, go for a walk, lay down on the sofa, doing exactly what was best for them to do. So we are using the body more than on other seminars that I have been to, because we are several of us is thinking that using the body is important. And I had a sort of game, you can say. All the people had to dance with the chair and using their body to just do what, like a child dancing with the chair. The chair has to stand on the ground, and they was about to sitting, lying, under, over, in, just like a child would do with a chair. And it was so funny because many of the people was, oh no, oh, they didn't want to, but okay. And everybody was having a great time. They was really enjoying going back to the child and just do something they didn't normally do. And then we get a show, so we look at each other, and it was dance. And I think it's fun to really use the body that way. And I'm dancing, what do you call it?
Contact improvisation?
No, contemporary dancing with much improvising.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so releasing to really just let the body tell me how to move and not think about what's the normal, but just use the body as I used it when I was a child.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is totally something I'm interested in, because when we grow up, we start living in such a world of a fixed structure, and that's how it's sort of reflected, or it's just the other side of the coin, that this is reflected in our minds as well. That's why we see such narrow possibilities for ourselves and our lives, because everything becomes very, very solidified, and the structures we give to our lives are, you sit, you're doing something, you go somewhere, you drive somewhere, then you sit again, you talk to someone, and that's pretty much all we are doing all life long. Unlike children who are just jumping about all over the place and coming up with all kinds of movements and touching everything and tasting everything, and having a full experience that is guided only by their own inner impulses, just wherever it takes them. And we completely forget this as adults. And I think it's both, like when we fit the body into a narrow frame of motion, it affects the mind. It becomes narrower as well, and vice versa. When our mind becomes fixed, it reflects on the body. It becomes stiff, and the energy can't flow, and we hold tension, and that leads to disease. So for me to return to the natural way our body wants to move us is another way of getting into the flow, into the thoughtless state of mind. And like I said in the previous talk, this can be achieved via talking about the three principles, or in my experience, it can be just as well achieved when we just place a little bit more attention on the body. And it doesn't necessarily happen straight away. Like, I've been doing this for a few years now, and I'm getting slowly better, but it's like a style of life. It's a practice, like, really, to be coming back to the body. And I don't mean it in a like mindfulness type of thing, or practice wasn't probably the right word, but I do it only when I feel called to do it. I don't force it. It's not like, oh, I have to remember being in the body, although I've been doing that as well for a good few years. But now it's more like that I've become so sick that it became sort of a necessity to listen more to the body. And for me, when I was talking about the structures we create for our lives, the three principles for me is also a way of breaking those established structures, because it teaches us to some degree that there are no rules. There are infinite potentials, infinite possibilities, and there is no reason to narrow it down. And and yet the way it's usually presented is in a very structured way, as everything else. We come into a room, we sit down, and we listen, we talk, you know. And where is the infinite potential? Where are the infinite possibilities, you know? So I appreciate your what you call it. That you are doing it a little bit differently in your academy, and to give the people the freedom to express individually, not for everyone having to sit the same way on the chairs, you know. And on top of that, there are a lot of ways that are appropriate for adults to behave. Like, you know, it would be considered rude if you fall asleep on the workshop, for instance, you know. And this goes against your nature. Like, when you want, like, look at cats. Those are the best Zen masters, really. If a cat wants to sleep, the cat will just close her eyes and sleep, you know. And that's natural, you know. But as humans, we are forcing ourselves to submit to these conventions, to these social constructs, and that's all taken us further away from our nature and from our attunement to the body. So the workshops I want to create, because I've been to workshops where, like, you talked about the exercise with the chairs. This is something I would like. I would be like, oh, no. Although, depending of how I would feel. It's usually fun for a lot of people to start moving or dancing or just being silly. But personally, I don't like when I'm being told, do this with the whole group, do the same thing. I'm like, but, you know, do I really feel like that, or do I feel like doing something else? And usually I find out that I want to do something else. Like, generally people are like social animals. They like to engage in the same activity with the group, because then that leads to some kind of bonding experience, you know. Everybody's doing the same, or they belong to the group, and it feels nice and cozy. And I don't generally resonate very well with this. I feel more like, for me personally, and I believe there are other people like that as well, it's more important to follow my individuality and to encourage other people through doing that to follow their own authenticity and to express their individuality. So for me, it at this moment, it's very interesting to explore the possibilities of creating health, safe spaces but within that container, promoting very little structure. That means everybody can have their own experience and really tune in to their body after they've slowed down their mind, and just see how that wants to express individually. That means different people will be doing different things, and I think from this something very beautiful can come, because the group resonance will be still there, even if you don't sort of force the people to follow a particular exercise. You know, they will express differently, and it will be like a wave. You know, maybe one person. See, that's the problem. If you play some music in a workshop and tell people now dance to this music, and let's say the music is very maybe aggressive, or you know, people will be happy to jump around and to just get the aggression out of their system. But what if you play some neutral music and let the people to discover what they're feeling in their body and what wants to be expressed? There might be one person who will feel like very mellow and slow, and the next one to it might be feeling very energetic, and it might go like that, and it might just flow through the room, and there's the possibility for something entirely new to be created without planning it beforehand, you know. So that's what I'm interested in exploring, and also to give people some guidelines or boundaries on how to work with touch, because we are such a touch-deprived culture here in the West. And this is something I've been struggling very much in my life, and I've sort of healed some of that, but now I'm really still missing spaces where, like, some mainly non-sexual touch in a safe way, where people can explore their their boundaries and to nurture this need, and to communicate with people on that level. So and because most of us didn't experience during our adulthood no other kind of touch except for intimate or sexual touch with our partner, we often don't know even how to do it. So, and I don't think we have to learn it necessarily, because children know how to cuddle, right? Nobody has to teach them. And we have this wisdom of what our body needs regarding touch within. It's buried and we've forgotten. So I also want to incorporate touch in those spaces where people can reconnect with this need within them and explore safe ways how to bring it back into their life. And once they explore it in a safe place, then they can take it with them into their daily life, and see how it feels maybe to hug their grandmother when they haven't done that for 20 years maybe, or their mother. Like, I've been trying this in my life, and I have found, like, once I myself became more comfortable with hugs, I would start hugging my family members, and first they were surprised and they were liking it, but after a few seconds you could see that they are really uncomfortable, that they don't know what that means, they don't know what to do with it. So it's really about giving oneself the permission and the inner space to explore this, and to see, to experiment with the boundaries of others, and to see where you're standing. Just really learning to attune to other people's bodies and what feels right and what doesn't feel right when you bring more touch into the interaction. But I don't know, I don't want to create any, like I said, no, like, I think everybody has to get the space to explore this for themselves, Like, you can't force people and tell them, this is how you do it, this is how you don't do it. You know, I feel it's very important to let every individual to have that emerge from within them, and they will know themselves, like, where they want to take it into their life. And so for me, the 3 Ps, when applied to the work with the body, it's the exact same principle. It's just you're coming from bringing the body awareness in and then acting from there, if this makes any sense. You know, because I don't want to create any techniques or practices. I just want to get back to the very natural state of us. Just get rid of all the overlays of what we think is or isn't appropriate, or, you know, just discover what's there underneath naturally already. So it wouldn't make any sense to create teachings or practices or techniques around it. Yeah.
I wasn't a hugger before. I had a really distance to other people. And after studying 3P and going to the community with 3P, other 3P members, there are so much love. So it's naturally to hug each other. So I'm really a hugger now. In almost every situation. So it has become natural to be, because I release a lot of love for other people. And it's really good to have the unsexual touch. It was easy when I had small children, because they were hugging all the time and I could hug them. But when they were older and not so natural to hug as much, then it was something I was missing. I didn't know it, because when I starting to hug all these beautiful people, then I realized that, oh, wow, this is natural. This is good. So more hugs and touching.
Yeah, definitely. And for instance, you mentioned that you do the dancing with the improvisation, right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, I love dancing, but I have lots of thinking about it, you know. I always want to be like perfect, and then I'm shy, and then it's very difficult to get into the flow for me, and to just express just freely. And, you know, I just keep checking if I'm not embarrassing myself, and I've tried some dancing like this, but I just I still felt it limiting somewhat. I couldn't let go completely, because there was the idea that we are doing dancing. It should look a certain way. It should look elegant, or it should look like dancing, you see. I was putting this pressure on myself that I should conform to the ideas I have myself about what dancing is, you see. So like it's great, but I just couldn't let go of it, and so that's why I think it's great, really, dancing. It really brings you into your body. But if you are so bad like me that you really have to do your steps with the head, it can be really challenging for some people. So that's why I wouldn't even put the label dancing on what I want to do in my workshops, you know, although it might very well naturally emerge and turn into some dance-like movements, but it's still a box, you know. Um, so um, there's something else I wanted to say, but go on now.
It's about to make the space for experience to happen. And in my dancing school, I'm on a course with young people, not the adults. I didn't want to, they hadn't the course for the adults, but I didn't want to dance with adults as well, because young children are much freer, and it was good for me to just play with a child. And the dancing teacher is talking a lot of dancing the feelings. So it's nothing who's wrong or right. They're just dancing the feeling. And it's so funny to be with the other girls are 13, and it's me and another adult who's just playing and moving our bodies. So it's so freeing. But a year ago, I don't think I had would have done that, because I was like you, that I thought that something was right or something was wrong. But I feel inside I had so longing for dancing. I was dancing when I was young, but I hadn't do it for many years. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna start dancing, and I'm gonna go as long as I enjoying it. If I don't enjoying it anymore, I don't want to go. But I'm enjoying it every week, and still when I'm feeling I don't the words that I don't get it. It's fun anyway. Because it's all about the experience. It's not that I want to be good or something. I just want the experience in the moment. And that's the beauty of it. And I would love to bring that back to the school. The children can be in a learning session where it's the moment, the experience in the moment, it's important, not all the thing in the future. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to learn this, but just enjoying in the moment with your whole body and mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it breaks down to the thinking we have about what we are doing or trying to do. Again, like for the workshops I want to create, I would like, this sounds beautiful. This is something I wanted to try, but then I tried it and it didn't entirely work for me. And because you go there with the intention to dance, everybody is there with the intention to dance, which is lovely. But I don't know what I will feel like doing in 5 minutes, never mind, you know, in a week in a dance class. So that's why the places I want to create is like, if you want to dance, you can dance. If you want to do something else, you do something else. If you want to do nothing, you do nothing. Like, everything goes, everything is okay, so long as you're not imposing yourself on anybody, or, you know, so long as you're not hurting anybody, or, you know, just within some boundaries, some healthy boundaries, which is another issue for many people. So it gets better when you start understanding the three principles, but still it's something a lot of people need to learn. I loved one thing you said at the beginning there. I will try to repeat it. Sorry. You said something like it's about creating the space for the experience. And
Yeah.
that to me is really what it all breaks down. And I found that the understanding of the three principles really gives us this headspace. It gives us the gap between the action and the reaction. It gives us it helps us to be aware that we don't have to jump on the wagon of the thoughts and become angry and believe that this person made us angry. It really offers us the space to take a step back and slow down and have a look what is actually going on, you know, and to notice, oh, I'm being triggered. There is some emotion rising here, and either I can buy into it and believe that it's true and start arguing or shouting at the other person, or I can just hold space for what's coming up in me. And the less I resist it, the sooner it will be over, and some insights will come from that. So for me, this is really so very important in every area of life, like really every area of life, and really to give yourselves the space, like you know, when, let's say, I'm trying to dance with someone and suddenly I get stuck in my head and I don't know what to do next, and I'm trying to figure out the steps, and I'm out of sync. But to give oneself the freedom, okay, I just need to stop for a moment, just excuse me on a moment, I need to take a few breaths and to center myself and to see, you know, just to, because oftentimes we have those ideas that everything has to go according to schedule, you know, and we have to appear like we know what we are doing, and we make up deadlines, or we make up ideas of how successful we should be, how talented we should be, or appear at least, and then we hold ourselves hostage to those ideals which we ourselves have made up. And we take a lot of freedom from ourselves. Nobody else is doing it to us. It's just ourselves. So to learn that there is the possibility to hold space for all that, and to make it primary, our own experience, to be primary in our own life, which makes sense, as opposed to what we look like to others, or, you know, what we look like on the outside, what standards we think we should abide by, to make all that secondary, all other people, everything external, that is secondary. But to learn that our experience is our experience, it's our bottom life, it's our life, nothing else but that, and to hold space for it and let that inform us about how we want to go through life, rather than getting in here and rationalizing and, you know, just trying to yeah. So so yeah, so that's another thing I want to help people to get back to. And again, I don't think any practices are needed for that. It's just reminding people what they already know, that this is their life, what they are feeling is their life, and that's end of the story, and to really connect with it and to have their lives guided from there. I think it should be quite simple. Now I know the 3 principles, just to bring and apply them on the body. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
There is something else I wanted to say, but I have forgotten, so I can't recall it now. Do you have anything more you would like to say?
Yeah, you talk about the body awareness, and that's I think it's interesting, because before I just was living in my head. I didn't really know my body. But now, when I use it in another way, I can feel it in another way, and I know my body more and more. And yeah, and I like to go barefoot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and in the whole year, so I love to go barefoot in the snow, and when it's cold outside, not for long, but just have that feeling that the difference and the connection with the nature and my body, and really feel that.
Yeah.
So I think I've been more sensitive in a way because I'm more aware of my whole body.
Yes, I like this because it's, with a lot of body work practices or techniques, our ego or our intellect can figure out, okay, I need to do this now to heal, or I need to learn that, I need to commit to this practice. And I'm not good with that, But what has been happening in my life is that something would come to me more like from within, and I would do something like walking barefoot, and maybe just for a while. Or you see what I'm trying to say, that it's not necessary to force yourself to be body aware all the time, or to walk barefoot every day for an hour. You see, this to me, it's kind of dogmatic approach, whereas and you won't achieve any quicker progress or any faster healing with this. All you will achieve is that you will force yourself into something that is natural to you. Whereas when the impulse comes from within, oh, now I want to walk barefoot, let's see where I can do that. Or now I feel like taking a few deep breaths, or now I feel like lying down, or now I feel like stretching, or now I feel like just tuning into my heartbeat or listening to my body. So it gives for a much richer life experience, and there is no plan laid out for you to follow. You are able to be much more in the moment then. You see, so I haven't really followed many practices dogmatically like this. I don't do any exercise, but slowly, and I believe in the right timing, it's all sort of happening and coming together. Like, it's a slow process, but you have to learn to be okay with it, and to start seeing that everything is good as it is, that you don't have to push it to be any better than it already is, because otherwise you're preventing yourself from feeling good. So yeah, and there was another thing I was going to say. What was it that you were speaking about? There's something. Yes, I have it. The experience of being in our body and to take in sensual input in is very sensuous. You see, And that's actually one of the reasons why it's considered generally inappropriate in our culture for adults. That's why you see children walking through nature or anywhere really, and they will be like touching everything, you see. You don't see adults doing that. Although when adults see some nice moss somewhere growing, you want to touch it. You sure do, but you don't want to look silly. And maybe once you are touching it, you really want to let that experience in through the skin, through the senses. Maybe you want to smell it. Maybe you want to touch it with your face even. So that you are experiencing it through all your senses and really letting it into your body. Yeah. So when a lot of people start doing body awareness, oftentimes, and this happened to me as well, they are being aware of their body in their head.
Yeah.
They're thinking about what's going on in their body, and I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, so I was like, okay, now I'm feeling something here. Now I'm feeling something here. I was still in my head, but it's okay. Like, I've learned that that isn't working. So usually when you're not thinking about it, then you know that you're really in the body. So it goes with the experiencing through the senses, that you stop thinking about what people will think about you, and you let that sensation go into your body. And when you're feeling something nice or different or interesting, and let that energy move through your body, it can be very like, you might start moving more sensually, or you might release some little like, that you really like it. It can awaken the sexual energy as well, and you can, how you start feeling connected with nature or with whatever is surrounding you, with people. It can express in very sensual ways, almost erotic, maybe even. And the people who start feeling so very alive in their own body and filled with their own essence and energy, because they are not resisting it or not repressing it, they are very dangerous to the status quo, to the establishment, because they are connected with their inner power, with their inner essence. And nobody is like that, you see. We might let go a little bit when we dance, when we are being intimate with our partner, but otherwise it's highly inappropriate in public to express our sensuality. And there's a good reason for that, because people who are not connected to it, they're much weaker. Energy is not flowing through them. They're getting sicker. They're easier to control. So I believe this was quite systemic. Why this is so. You don't see that in animals. They don't think about, oh, maybe I shouldn't touch the other dog like that, because then then people will think I'm horny or whatever. You see, they don't think about it like that. They're just expressing their energy, really, how it's connected and aligned to the universal mind, and just moving through them. So this is another thing that I find really, that I'm quite passionate about, like to sort of free myself from those artificial standards of what's appropriate and what isn't, and to be an example for other people that it's possible, and because we think we've been sort of taught and conditioned to believe that when this happens and when people start expressing their sensuality, then everybody will go wild and there will be orgies in the streets, and it will be the end of the world. But it's not quite true. It's when we are repressing it that it leads to perversions and power struggles and violence and because it's such a taboo and it's being repressed in the society, nobody speaks about it, then it leads to a fairly violent and dominant and what do you call it? Like an aggressive society, because we are repressing so much energy all the time, and we are repressing our natural sexuality and sensuality and our impulses, that it becomes very twisted. That's why, for instance, there is such a huge interest in the BDSM scene, you know, because we are we have sort of embraced the power struggle to be part of our sexual and sensual nature. And then it leads to what we know as the rape culture, whether you subscribe and believing in it or not. But it leads to all kinds of distortion, you know. Then there is pedophilia and whatnot, terrible things. And that's all because we are repressing our sensuality. We don't let the sensory impulses to move through us in a natural way. We don't let ourselves to experience it fully, the nature and the people around us. We're always feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be too open, too sensuous, because. So, yeah, I don't know if this made much sense now, but yeah, I believe that's going to be a big part of my work, to really show that it is natural and it's much healthier, and when it's expressed in a safe way and when we are really connected to our core, that it leads to a much healthier society. So.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, what you were saying, it was so much freedom and love, and if people could see that, if they are follow their wisdom to do the thing they like, and if they follow the wisdom, it's something would be good for themselves and other people, so it can't harm anybody.
Yeah.
So it's so releasing and freeing, and to be a little bit crazy and do exactly what your body is feeling to do. So I like to do something crazy, dancing in the street, or some gymnastic, or something crazy, and go out in the rain, just being soaking wet. But it had to, as you said, it's nothing. It's not a strategy, as you said, because it's just in that moment. I really want to do that.
Yes.
It's not every day or every week or something, but when I really feel that I have something, oh, that would be fun, and I had that other feeling that, oh, this is not looking good. Other people will will tell me that no. But when I then I really doing the action from that feeling, it's so releasing and it's so fun, and I'm feeling so free and so natural, and combined with the whole nature, and it's bring me alive. I'm really feeling living, and if we could make that space that people could could do as they really want to. And in the dance studio, it's a sign where dance like nobody watch.
Mm.
And if you can have that feeling and you feel what's natural to you and just do it.
Yeah. See, the trick is that dance like nobody is watching it. You know, people usually mind their own business. We just think that everybody is watching us.
Yeah.
And even if they are watching us, no matter what they are thinking, we don't know what they are thinking.
No.
But what's really stopping us is what we are thinking. What we are thinking that they are thinking, maybe. And maybe we are thinking the same thing that they are thinking. But if we weren't thinking it first, we couldn't have whatever they are thinking. It couldn't stop us. It doesn't have the power. The thought has to be in our own heads in order to have an impact on us, or in order for us to experience the effect of it. So it's only ever our own thoughts that are stopping us.
Yeah, and it's so funny because we are stopping ourselves because we are thinking about what others are thinking about us, but they are just thinking about what others thinking about them. So they really don't care.
Yeah. And like the thoughts there aren't transferable. So it's so hard to explain. But I had an insight into this once. I was walking the street and I was thinking about, I wasn't dressed very well, I wasn't looking the best, and I was feeling very contracted and very shy, and I was thinking like what the other people, if someone sees me and they will think, oh, this girl is terribly dressed, she looks horrible, blah, 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 blah. And then I had a horrible experience walking on the street. And then I realized, hold on, I'm thinking I'm horrible. That's why I'm feeling this horrible. Or I'm thinking that I'm looking terrible. That's why I'm having this feeling, this experience. It has nothing to do with the people out there whatsoever. Even if they were thinking that, which they probably aren't, it's my own thought. I'm just projecting it on the other people, that they are thinking this about me. Whereas it was me who truly was believing and thinking those thoughts. And it didn't last very long, but it was a good insight, that the thought has to be first yours. You know, if whenever you're thinking that somebody is judging you for whatever reason, it's always first you judging yourself for it. Otherwise, it couldn't affect you. No. The judgment couldn't have any effect on you. And oftentimes we are not aware of those judgments we have of ourselves. There might be some unconscious belief. That's why we are blaming the other people, like, for judging us, whereas it's actually ourselves. And then there is another thing, like when you go crazy in the streets and start dancing in the rain, you don't want to end up locked up, which is something like what I was struggling with, and a good friend taught me that really that's not the real reason that should be stopping you either. It's really giving oneself the space and to consider, do I judge this behavior myself? Because if people see that you yourself are in line with it and okay with this behavior, that you are not see, because you could start dancing in the street and you could be thinking, other people will be thinking that I am crazy, which can manifest in the outer reality, that they will really, an ambulance will come and they will drag you to the psychiatric unit. Whereas what is actually really happening is that you have a secret, maybe unconscious suspicion that you are crazy. You see, you're not entirely okay or aligned with that behavior. Whereas when you are totally knowing that it's healthy, that it's okay to express yourself like that, then there is no reason for such situation to manifest in the outer world, because it will be visible that you're a healthy person expressing yourself naturally, and you might inspire other people to do that. So oftentimes it really just comes back to ourselves. Okay, we have some 15 minutes left. Is anything coming to your mind that you would like to say at the end, or?
No.
No?
No, it's empty.
Okay. That's very good. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
I'd have one thing that I wouldn't like to leave out, so I will say it, and then we can slowly finish.
Yeah.
When I was preparing for this talk, which wasn't any preparation at all, because I don't like to do preparation, but like I said, like the interview starts playing out in my head. There was one thing that kept coming to me repeatedly during this talk or chat, and I will mention it because I might regret it later that I didn't. There was one thing that I found curious, because besides the three principles, I was very interested or exploring things like Tantra and conscious sexuality. So I have some, like on my Facebook, I have friends from both camps. And what I have found interesting is that people who have worked with the three principles really deeply, and people who have worked with Tantra really deeply, they are very similar, you know. They are filled with love, they have deep insight, and oftentimes, if you didn't know their background, you would be hard pushed to recognize or distinguish who is doing Tantra, who is doing three principles, that there are huge similarities, and a lot of the Tantra people, they might never have heard of the three principles, and yet when you hear them speaking or they write something, it's very clear that what they are expressing is very much the three principles. So I have found this curious, and to me, really, those two things aren't two things. So there is a difference, however. Like in Tantra, and this is exactly what we are talking about here. In Tantra, you are arriving at the three principle understanding specifically through the body. The little sad thing is that there are often a lot of practices. Like there are a lot of ways to do Tantra, but in a lot of the approaches, excuse me, there would be a lot of techniques and practices to follow, and exercises and breath work and blah blah blah, and I don't do those things, so that's not for me. But the core teachings are really about exactly the same thing, what the three principles are about arriving beyond the concepts and seeing where our experience gets created from. But like I said, it's specifically being done through the body, which I'm really missing in the three principles camp, that there is no work with the body at all. I don't think so. When you look at the let's say Dick and Bettinger, right? He's like this person surrounded by light. He's full of love and understanding. He never runs out of energy, I think. And just listening to him can really, even online on YouTube, can really put you in deep connection with yourself. But when you look at the Tantra, a person who's been practicing Tantra, you might see the very same thing about them, but there will be an added juiciness and vibrancy and aliveness, like because they would work daily with touch with other people and in very creative ways, you know, and they are interested in taboo subjects, in taboo topics, and they've explored all that and they've been digging through that. So now they are free to really express life from in physical ways, you see, like in like they're like a force of nature, you know. You can see love coming through their ears, and they are at the same time not afraid to admit that there are still things they are afraid of or that are blocking them, and that, you know, that they have a dark side, and it's wild. It's very wild. It can appear scary to a person who isn't very much interested in sexuality, for instance. Who like for people who have some repressed emotions around their sexuality, which is pretty much almost everyone, this can almost be threatening their way of life, you know. They might look, they might be frowning upon such a vibrant expression of life. So I like both, but for me, I'm thinking there must be a middle ground where you really combine the best from the two worlds, and make it something entirely new, you know, that it doesn't go either in the direction of working with sexuality overtly, or neither in the direction of just sitting and talking. You know, I think there must be some middle ground that would be more easily digestible um, for more people, for common people, really, you know, where the touch might be less sexual, or the movement, where the talking would be less rigid, or no, I don't want to say boring, but I can't find a better word, you know. Like, it's much more fun when you can combine it with moving and touching, right? But for some people, it's too much to go the uh, the whole full way to starting to explore Tantra, you see. So I think like touch is important, but not everybody wants to work with their sexuality overtly or openly. So, and the 3Ps, again, they're also important, but not everybody wants to go to a seminar and sit there for a whole weekend listening to something they don't understand. So I'm thinking that there must be a middle way where these two things can be combined in a way that will be more fun, for accessible to more people. You see? Maybe like a 3P talk with a 3P dance, or 3P cuddle party, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Typical parties, yeah.
you know, cuddle parties, it's a big
Yeah,
hit in the world.
yeah, I heard about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do that, but I would like to, or something like that. But I would like to preface it with a little 3P talk. So, you
Yeah,
know,
I think it can be wise to have the experience first, the body experience, and then talk about
you think
what's
so?
happening, because then you can be aware of what the learning was. So
Hmm.
to combine them,
Hmm.
it's I think could be very wise.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
we are learning in different ways, so
Yes.
it's good to have different kind of 3P directions, or whatever
Hmm.
you can call it,
Yes.
so that we can not we just don't teach it in the same way, because then we will just having the same people who is listening to us. If we are, if we 3P facilitators are different, we will reach a lot more people.
Yes.
And I think that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So, and on the other hand, I have seen a lot of people who want to work with the 3 principles, but they are trying to mimic other people's models. They're not really bringing their own passion and what interests them in life into it, which I tried to do myself, and only when I realized, no, this is not the way to go for me. I have to start with my passions and bring the 3 principles into that. And once I started doing this, it just took off in a whole new level. So definitely this is something to bring into account.
It's always the feeling.
Yes.
And,
yes.
and you can't have the feeling if you are just copying another person, because it isn't you. So you have to, I think for me, it has to be fresh and something I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
And then the feeling is coming, and then connection is more.
And that's exactly why I want to do this workshop where everybody can connect with their individuality, because we don't realize just how much variety there is among people. We really have narrowed it down, you know. See, this is a 3P facilitator, it's done like this. No, there's like a million different ways, and when you find ways and allow the uniqueness to express itself in every individual, then we will see an interesting, beautiful world. Like, we have no idea how much beauty there is in people that is being repressed in structures, in in creating the boxes and appropriate ways of how things should be. So I just want to open this all up so that people find. I just want to help people to make it easier for them to express their own authenticity, and then when they take it from there and from that feeling, everybody can create amazing things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Lovely. So we are almost at 90 minutes now.
Yeah.
I think this is a good note to end on. I think this went well. I don't know about you.
I have a good feeling, so.
That's the important thing. I'm still a little bit nervous, actually. I'm gonna switch it off now and then. I'm gonna have deep breaths because. But I think we covered some really important topics, and I'm really pleased with how it went. So I think we can put that on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's okay with you?
It's okay, and I hope it reaches some people.
Yeah, I'll do my best. We will talk later about where we could put the video up. Torill, would you like to say how people can contact you, or do you have a website, or?
Yeah, I have a website, and I have and I'm on Facebook. But I think 3P Academy maybe is the easiest way to remember. But I'm not. All my texts are in Norwegian, so
Okay.
This is the first time I'm having something in English. So, but you can write to me in English. That's okay if you want to talk to me.
I think your English is good. Like, I used to be scared like you, like, oh, I'm gonna get famous in the whole world when I can't speak English. But when I started speaking, and to my surprise, people understand me more or less.
Yeah.
So it's just about starting, and then you start talking, and you've done really good. Like, I could understand everything, so it's fine. Okay, so we will put your website under the video, and all the links you're gonna need will be underneath the video. And this is really fun. Thanks for suggesting this. Torill? Is that Torill? Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know how one ends those things, so I will just say thank you very much. It was lovely to have you here and speaking to you. And I have given the name to this show. It's being called Authentic Being from now on, and once I create the workshops, I might call them the same, so people can keep an eye out for it. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Torill, for being here, and we'll see you around, I guess, somewhere.
Yeah. Thank you. And have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.